filming? Oh, I don't know. I haven't filmed YouTube in a while. Welcome back, everybody, to my YouTube channel again for like the 5 millionth time. 5 millionth time. This is one of my newer segments where we will go over where we read non-fictional books together, or not read, I read them for you, and I break it down so you don't have to read it, and you can just watch my videos and learn from the book instead of spending all the hours to read it. So I'm going to do that for you guys. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, I did do a poll a few months ago on which non-fiction book you wanted me to cover first, and you all voted for... So let's pick apart this book together and become better human beings. Who wouldn't want that? This is going to be a longer video just because I'm introducing myself again and just kind of giving a quick rundown of my plan for this new series on my channel. There we go. Series is the word. So the first video is just going to be on the introduction of this book. Not even the first chapter, but the little intro. This is my lesson plan, okay, guys? I prepare for my videos, okay? I write my notes, and then I speak my notes. Okay. I never get hot coffee. I maybe get hot coffee like 2 times a year. Not that this is relevant. Oh, God. I don't know how I'm going to keep these videos short. I need to focus for this series. But cheers. Anyways, you guys, I'm going to tell you anyways. I got a hot latte with oat milk, 4 shots of espresso with extra caramel and hazelnut. So... I closed the blinds because I'm unpacking from my vacation. Nobody asked. Let's get to the introduction. So the introduction, she starts off talking about basically her path and what led her to write this book and things that she struggled with that made her come up with this theory. So in the beginning, she talks about how she was avoiding these big issues in her life and how she was feeling stuck. She knew what she needed to do to get out of the hole that she was in financially and like mentally, but she couldn't find it in herself to start it. Starting is always the hardest thing in whatever you do. Like once you start, you're good, but starting it is, to me, always the hardest part. Going to the gym is the hardest part, but once you're at the gym, you're like, oh, okay. It's just getting in your car and doing it. This feeling stuck led her to create what basically made her famous, called the countdown rule, which is a 5-second rule, basically like, okay, I need to get this done, I'm going to count down from 5, and we're going to just start. Even if it's just like getting out of bed an hour earlier, you just lay there and you're like, all right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And once you start the countdown, you have to commit. And so this countdown rule, she basically said that you want to take action before the hesitation kicks in, which is really powerful. And so the reason she introduced this book with the countdown rule that she came up with is because she wrote her first book at 49 years old. Basically showing that you can become successful at any age, you don't need to feel rushed. That really sat with me because sometimes I feel behind for my age. I'm like, dang, like, I feel like I could be, you know, way more ahead, and that kind of thinking can be very detrimental. So she made sure that us readers knew, like, hey, I wrote my first book at 49 and I became successful like after this first book when I was like in my early 50s. So basically setting the tone for the book of just like, you're gonna be successful if you have the grit and to just relax in knowing that you can find your way no matter how old you are. So after she wrote her first book at 49 and that started to become popular, she went to go on to do TED Talks, and then she made a podcast at age 54. I love that. So that was the first part of the introduction, and then she started to get into her whole motivation for writing these books and this podcast is to try and be a little better than you were the day before. And I love that because I read in a book somewhere that most people set themselves up for failure by setting too big of goals. Whereas if you set smaller little baby step goals, you're going to feel way more accomplished and motivated instead of setting these goals that seem achievable but they're too big, and then you're just like let down with yourself and you're like, I'm failing and whatever, and you don't have that like motivation to continue to set those goals. One of her quotes that I really liked in the introduction was, you'll never feel ready to change your life. One day you just get tired of your own excuses and force yourself to do it. This resonates with me because I was depressed for like 5 years after losing my parents, and I just like couldn't get out of it. because I had this shitty mentality where I focused more on what I was overwhelmed or sad or stressed about in life. And I let that just like completely take over how I viewed everything. And about 7 months ago, I just woke up and I was like, you know what? I'm really tired of focusing on things that could be better, and I'm gonna wake up and literally just be like, this coffee that I'm drinking is amazing and coffee makes me really happy, or I get to sit on my patio and listen to the birds and feel the sunshine. And as soon as I switched that, everything changed. That quote, I'll say it one more time, you'll never feel ready to change your life. One day you just get tired of your own excuses and force yourself to do it. It's just a switch that goes off in your brain and you're like, all right, yeah, I'm fed up with myself. This is what started to change the relationship that she had with herself, the author Mel Robbins. So that book, the Countdown Rule, that was how she changed her relationship with herself. And this book, The Let Them Theory, is how she changed her relationship with other people, which now brings us to the introduction of this actual book. We will wrap that up for the first little segment for the introduction, so that the next segment of the introduction is actually about what she wants us to get from the Let Them Theory book. If you're ready to watch the second segment, it's ready for you. Let's go.